This training is intended to cover the pre-analytical procedure for the inactivation of the coronavirus, a process to be carried out under a biosafety cabinet. Collect sample by using dry nasal swab and place it into its transportation container. Freshly collected specimens should be processed as soon as possible. Send to the laboratory at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius within 6 hours. Nasal swabs can be also directly soaked into the sample inactivation buffer, article number 311492 for CE market and article number 311502 for US market, and sent to the laboratory for processing. All of the following pre-analytical steps should be performed at room temperature, 15 to 25 degrees Celsius, and under a biosafety cabinet. Ensure also samples and reagents are at room temperature, 15 to 25 degrees Celsius, before starting with the inactivation procedure. Remove the swab from the transportation container, place and soak it in the pre-filled tube containing the sample inactivation buffer. Check the buffer completely covers the swab tip. Elute the sample by rotating the swab to and fro in the tube for at least 5 times while pressing the tip against the bottom and the sides of the tube. Leave the swab in the inactivation buffer for at least 1 minute. Squeeze the swab tip against the walls of the tube, spinning it back and forth for at least 5 times, then remove the swab and dispose it in the biohazard waste container. Cap the tube and leave it in incubation for at least 120 minutes before to handle the sample. Warning: it is essential to ensure that the incubation lasts for at least 120 minutes to inactivate the virus and to reduce the risk of potential infection. Remove the cap and load the tube on the analyzer as per instrument instruction for use. Collect sample by using nasopharyngeal swabs and soak it into the universal transport media or viral transport media included in the transportation container. Send to the laboratory for processing at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius within 12 hours. All of the following pre-analytical steps should be performed at room temperature, 15 degrees to 25 degrees Celsius, under a biosafety cabinet and using universal precautions for handling potentially infectious specimens. All clinical samples and reagents must be at room temperature, 15 degrees to 25 degrees Celsius, before beginning with the next step of the procedure. Transfer 1 ml of specimens eluted in UTM or VTM in the tube containing the sample inactivation buffer. Cap the tube and mix the specimen by vortex for 5 to 10 seconds. Incubate the tube at room temperature for 120 minutes before handling it. Warning: it is essential to ensure that the incubation lasts for at least 120 minutes to inactivate the virus and to reduce the risk of potential infection. Remove the cap and load the tube on the analyzer as per instrument instruction for use. Samples should be tested as soon as possible at the completion of the pre-analytical procedure. If immediate testing is not possible, inactivated samples can be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. Nasal swabs are stable for up to 6 days, UTM or VTM for up to 5 days. Both can be stored at -20 degrees Celsius or colder for up to 1 month prior to testing. If samples are stored frozen, mix thawed samples well before testing. While nasal swab frozen samples can undergo up to 3 freeze-thaw cycles without experiencing any change in performance, nasopharyngeal swab in universal transport media or virus transport media frozen samples can undergo up to 1 freeze-thaw cycle only. Freshly collected specimens or samples having particulate after thawed may require centrifugation, i.e. 3G by 10 minutes, before testing. Inadequate sample collection, handling, storage or transport may lead to erroneous results. For both the NS and the NPS procedures, the minimum volume required for a single determination is 400 microliters of specimen. 100 microliters specimen and 300 L dead volume.